The other thing I'd like to bring up, if I may,
yes,
is the way you are now referring to Andrew Windsor.
Yes, is that incorrect?
That is absolutely incorrect.
What should it be?
Whatever you think about him, his correct title is His Royal Highness Prince Andrew.
The paedophile's friend.
And it's the same with Meghan. Everybody seems to refer to her as Meghan. She's not Meghan. She's now the Duchess of Sussex.
Well, she's whoever she wants to be.
No, she's not.
Yes,
That's
she
her
is.
title.
Okay, can I say His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, the paedophile's friend?
How many friends have you got that may have done silly things or bad things?
None that have been jailed for it, Muffy. How many have you got?
None that have been jailed, but I've had a number that have done silly things.
You think that raping teenage girls gets filed under silly things?
No, absolutely not.
I think you've delighted us for long
absolutely
enough.
Not.
Alex is in Camden. Alex, what would you like to say?
I think this is a witch hunt on Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. I think this is anti-Semitism. I think Jeffrey
Good
Epstein
grief, I thought the last
innocent.
call was mad. Amanda is in Datchet. Amanda, what would you like to say?
Hello there, yes. I just want to know, is it fair that we blanket the whole royal family for one member's actions? If somebody in my family did something wrong, would it be fair that everybody dissed my whole family for their actions?
I don't know that anyone is doing that, are they?
Well, I think that's what came over last night on the TV, was that,
well, let's listen to it again. Let's listen to it again.
Is the monarchy fit for purpose? Jeremy Corbyn.
Needs a bit of improvement.
Mr Johnson.
The institution of the monarchy is beyond reproach.
Where's the sort of tarring everyone with the same brush thing there?
First of all, I think Jeremy Corbyn is in no position to...
No, I didn't ask you that. I asked you, where's the tarring everyone with the same brush bit there in what I just played?
Well, I think the monarchy needs some improvement, does it? I think it does.
So you're agreeing with Jeremy Corbyn?
I agree that... No, I don't think the monarchy needs some improvement.
You don't think they should get rid of the man who hangs out with paedophiles?
So tell me, if you are a friend...
I'm asking you questions. Would the monarchy be improved by getting rid of a member who hangs around with paedophiles?
No.
Right. This is a fascinating phone-in, and I'd just like you to expand on that. So if you were friends with a paedophile, you don't think that your status would be improved by not being friends with them anymore?
I think you have to look at the whole picture.
I am.
Am I friends with the paedophile because he's a paedophile, or am I friends with a friend?
Here you are on the radio. Here you actually
Sorry?
are on the radio, talking about the various circumstances in which you could be friends with a paedophile. I bet you didn't think this was going to happen when you woke up this morning, did you?
Do you want to let me finish?
Not really.
Okay, then there's no point me phoning in.
I don't like talking to people who can be friends with paedophiles, actually, or people who split hairs over it. But it's good that you agreed with Jeremy Corbyn. I bet you weren't expecting to do that when you woke up this morning either.
I did not agree with Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah.
James O'Brien leaned back in his chair, a faint smirk tugging at the corners of his mouth. The morning's debate about the monarchy had taken its usual twists and turns, but nothing prepared him for the call from Muffy in Fulham. "Good morning, Muffy," he began cheerily. "What's on your mind?" Muffy's voice came through the line, clipped and tinged with indignation. "I'd like to bring up the way you are now referring to Andrew Windsor. That is absolutely incorrect." "Oh." James feigned innocence, though he already knew where this was going. "Yes," she continued, her tone sharpening. "Whatever you think about him, his correct title is His Royal Highness Prince Andrew." James leaned closer to his microphone. "Can I say, His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, the pedophile's friend?" The pause was long enough for listeners to feel the tension crackling in the air. "That," Muffy snapped, "is an outrageous thing to say." James's smirk widened. "Outrageous, is it? Muffy, he's been photographed walking through Central Park with Jeffrey Epstein. He stayed at Epstein's house after the man had been convicted of soliciting a minor. Outrageous might be the least of it," Muffy bristled. "How many friends have you got that may have done silly things or bad things?" "Silly things," James repeated, eyebrows raised. "You're comparing pedophilia to silly things now." "I didn't mean it like that," Muffy stammered. "But we all have friends who might have made mistakes." James's voice sharpened. "None of my friends have been jailed for exploiting minors, Muffy. None of them." "Well," she faltered, "you can't hold someone responsible for what their friends do. But you can hold someone responsible for choosing to stay friends with them, can't you?" James pressed. "Or does the rulebook for royal titles absolve them of basic moral accountability too?" Muffy, clearly flustered, tried to regain her footing. "It's about respect. Whatever he's done, he's still a prince of this country." James laughed bitterly. "Respect. Respect is earned, not handed out with a title. Let's call it what it is, Muffy. If Prince Andrew weren't a royal, if he were Andrew from down the road, would you still be so quick to defend him? That's not the point, Muffy insisted. He is a royal, and we should respect the institution, and there it is, James said, almost to himself. The institution. The monarchy. A system so ingrained that even now, with all the evidence, we're supposed to bow and curtsy as if none of it matters. Tell me, Muffy, where's the line? How far does someone like Prince Andrew have to go before you stop defending him? Muffy spluttered, unable to form a coherent response. James didn't wait. Let me help you. The line was crossed years ago. The monarchy isn't a shield to protect someone from scrutiny. It's not a free pass to avoid accountability. And if you think titles matter more than truth, then you're part of the problem. The line went silent, but James could still hear her breathing. Anything else, Muffy? He asked lightly. I just think you're being unfair, she said finally. Unfair, James repeated with mock incredulity. I'm unfair for pointing out that a man who spent time with a convicted pedophile might not deserve the respect you think his title guarantees. Forgive me, Muffy, but I'd argue that I'm being too fair. Before she could respond, James continued, his tone now more measured. Look, I understand loyalty to the monarchy. I get it, but blind loyalty, that's dangerous. It allows people like Andrew to act without consequences. Is that the kind of monarchy you want to defend? Muffy hesitated again, but this time she didn't answer. Thank you for calling, James said briskly, cutting the line. And there we have it, folks. Loyalty to the crown, no matter the cost. Because apparently, titles and traditions are worth more than the truth. Onwards, the next caller was already waiting. James sighed, bracing himself. If Muffy was the warm-up act, this was going to be a long morning. The morning air buzzed with energy as James O'Brien's LBC show wrapped up, but the fallout from his segment on Prince Andrew was only beginning. Social media lit up like a Christmas tree, flooded with praise for how James had masterfully handled not one, but three callers who tried, and failed, to defend the indefensible. On Twitter, the hashtag #JamesO'Brien trended within minutes, with thousands of users sharing clips of the broadcast. This is why I love James O'Brien, one tweet read. He cuts through the nonsense and speaks truth to power without flinching. Muffy didn't stand a chance. Another user quipped, James O'Brien vs Royal Apologists, 3-0. He's the voice we need in a sea of blind loyalty. Facebook groups and forums buzzed with discussions about his takedown of the callers. One particularly viral comment read, James has the rare ability to expose hypocrisy without losing his cool. He doesn't shout, doesn't insult, he just lays out the facts and lets their arguments fall apart on their own. Genius. Among the highlights was his exchange with Muffy from Fulham, who insisted on calling the Duke of York, His Royal Highness. James's biting retort, can I say, His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, the pedophile's friend, was being quoted everywhere. It became a rallying cry for listeners fed up with the idea that royal titles could excuse questionable behavior. You can feel the collective sigh of relief when James speaks the truth we're all thinking, one fan posted on Reddit. He doesn't let these people wriggle out of accountability just because they're defending tradition or the monarchy. The admiration wasn't limited to social media. Later in the day, fellow broadcasters and journalists praised James's ability to steer the conversation with sharp wit and unwavering resolve. One journalist tweeted, James O'Brien is in a league of his own. Listening to him dismantle those arguments without breaking a sweat was pure art. Even callers who disagreed with James admitted that his logic was hard to argue against. I don't always agree with him, a caller named Simon admitted on a subsequent show, but he's got this way of making you question what you believe. That's real talent. By the end of the day, fan tributes poured in, many thanking James for refusing to bow to societal pressures to shield the powerful. One tweet summed up the mood perfectly. James O'Brien reminded us all today that the truth matters more than a title. If you're not listening to him, you're missing out. It was another day, another battle won for James O'Brien. And judging by the reaction, his listeners couldn't get enough.